could be an opportunity for us to get our mojo back. Becoming China's Bitch author Peter Kiernan joins you right now. How so?
Well, if you look at what China's got to do, they want to engineer a soft landing for their economy. And like you say, they're going to have to put up with 7.5% growth this year, which is a grave disappointment.
Do you believe those numbers?
No, I think that the Chinese have, their government has what you'd call an aversion to transparency. And I think you have to pick and choose. But I think directionally, there's softness going on. And what they're trying to do is a trifecta. One, they want to reduce their dependence on exports. They've been trying to feed the Eurozone, and as the Eurozone flags, that's a problem. Second, they've got to build their domestic consumption up. That's really the key. And finally, they have to moderate what's been an explosion in housing prices without letting too much air out of the balloon.
But isn't the argument that that hurts us when they have to address any of the above because they're less inclined to certainly buy our debt at past levels, and seeing as we're piling up the debt pretty fast, certainly at not these faster levels.
Well, I think as it relates to the buying of our debt, you're spot on. The opportunity exists, though, because if they're trying to build a consumer marketplace, what do we do pretty well? We make great consumer goods. So you see Ford is doubling down. They're going to spend $600 million this year building up their capacity to sell cars. And I think our opportunity to sell into that ever-expanding consumer market, which will be the biggest consumer market in the world, that's our chance. The time to strike with China is now, when they're a little bit weaker, when they're a little bit less certain of themselves, when they're having a harder time engineering these numbers that work out to 7.5% magically.
Well, that could be your follow-up book then, making, them our bitch. Right.
Well, this is, everyone's bitch. That seems like where this is going. But the truth is, if we are clever and not a scold, we can confront them where they're being difficult with us, and then, nevertheless, maintain an avenue of détente where we can sell our goods into that market. And that's a win for us.
Could I digress again? When you came up with the title of that book, fantastic. I recommend highly anyone who wants to get the real skinny on looking at China in adult terms. The in-your-face title notwithstanding. Did you run across any, either publisher or others, concerned that's a little too strong?
There are a lot of people who thought it was too strong, and including my own family at first. But I think when people look beyond it, they saw there was something. I mentioned to you that I just signed a deal with a Chinese publisher who's going to translate it into Chinese, and it should come out there this September.
Can you read Chinese? Or,
I cannot read Chinese.
So they could just...
It'll be a
completely change
deal.
the wording around.
It'll definitely
it won't be anything like you wrote. You'll never know.
I will definitely never know.
All right. But you visited China the last time you were here, and they didn't poison you or try to kill you?
No, in fact, there's a respect. They actually like being known as a canny negotiator. They like being known as a very thoughtful better of their economy. I talked about how they're betting on roads, how they're betting on ports.
No, it was very complimentary. I mean, you acknowledged some of the sinister things they do, but you did it in a way that I think would make them look back at it. He's on to us. He admires us for our canniness, and we like that.
Yes,
which is why they didn't kill you. When you were last
probably
there.
Why they didn't. No,
but if you go again, they will kill you.
Well, I'm due to go back in a few weeks, and so we'll see. But
Do you have food tasters?
I will have to. I will have to just behave myself and bring my little package with me of hermetically sealed food.
He kids, but he's a gutsy guy. Peter Kiernan, the definitive book on how you deal with the Chinese.